Everybody, welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, we talk about mothers on this Mother's Day. Uh, I have the opportunity to sit down with my very own mother, Jane Howell. In this episode, we talk about the examples that she had growing up, specifically in her mother. And then we talk about some experiences of her own and talk about some of the challenges and joys and everything that comes with being a mother. And just a wonderful opportunity it was for me to sit down and interview her. So I hope you enjoy the episode. If you would, if you are listening on Spotify or Apple, please take the opportunity to leave us a review and rating. If you're watching and listening on YouTube, be sure and hit your subscription, your notification bell, and leave any comments, thoughts that you have on motherhood. And you can do the same in Spotify and Apple as well. So, again, thank you for support. Thank you for listening. But to kick this one off, I want to share with you a poem that I wrote on behalf of myself and my siblings in honor of my mother in the year 2000. It's titled, She is Called Mother. Oh, what a sacred call given to Eve to set the standard of motherhood, if only they would believe. From generation to generation, the call of motherhood would go out. Many would do their best as that mantle was placed, but some would not be as devout. Some have had the gospel, which gives understanding to this call. Some would not, and even though without, have had an understanding overall. There is something instilled in a woman when she gives birth. No, not money, fame, or fortune can equal its worth. A son cannot, a daughter without children of her own, not even a father can fully comprehend. Not what she feels, nor what she thinks, or the godly love that she possesses for her children. No, you cannot even begin. It seems as though most mothers want to rear a stripling warrior. This mother does all she can to protect, guard, and fight off the one they call the destroyer. She rejoices inside, she hurts inside for her children when they are up or down. If only they could understand the sincerity of their mother's smile or frown. We write this and cannot fathom the call of a mother. We have not even a clue, but we write this to express our love, our feelings, our gratitude, and stand in awe of you. As two of us have borne children of our own and now are understanding what a mother feels, we still stand beside our siblings to think of you as we get those chills. As your two sons, we continue to live under your love. We see the kind of mother we want for our children as we thank our Father in heaven above. As your last daughter to rear, I see the great mothers you have taught my sisters to be, and hope that one day I will be able to apply the principles I have learned from you three. Well, as we celebrate this Mother's Day in this 2000th year, we hope that our love, compassion, and gratitude will always remain clear. We could write more and more to let you know that like you, there is no other. However, we will end this poem and say, we are pleased to say, you are our mother. We love you, Patty, Teresa, Jackson, Brian, and Mary Ann. As you listen to this episode, I hope you have fond memories and reflections upon your mother and all of the mothers and influences in your life. Hope you will take the opportunity to share some extra love, hugs, and kisses with those mothers in your life. Hope you enjoy the episode. Today, I have probably what's my most honored, most special guest of all time, my mom, Jane Howell. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good. Doing good. Well, thank you for coming in. Thank you for agreeing.
Thank you for asking and trusting.
Absolutely. Always trust you. Can't think of a time that I haven't trusted you. So, yeah. So today we have we're going to be talking about Mother's Day, and I figured what better option than to ask my mom to come in and sit down and just have a conversation about mothers in general, about your experience as a mother, and then your experience as a mother-in-law, as a grandmother, as a great grandmother, um, and maybe some examples that you've seen from the scriptures to people around you, to your daughters-in-laws, to, and then of course, obviously to your mother and everything. Um, so you have 5 children, you
Right.
and a mother-in-law to 5,
Right.
and then 19 grandchildren and 5 great grandchildren. Is that right?
That's right. So far.
So far, that's right, exactly. Well, very good. So we'll start out. Let's start out by talking about maybe your upbringing, the examples that you saw growing up, from your mother to grandmother, and any other examples and everything that you have.
Okay. So, my mom grew up in Blackshear, Georgia, and two goodly parents. Loved my grandmother and grandfather, Osteen. And mom grew up during the Great Depression. And so at the age of 15, she had to quit school, which she always hated that she had to do that. But she was needed to move to Jacksonville, where she lived with a relative and worked. And part of her money she would send home to her mom and dad and to help with their family and her siblings. And she was actually the next to the oldest and had 3 sisters and 1 brother.
So where you say she moved to Jacksonville,
To move to Jacksonville.
and where was that from? Where did she move from?
Blackshear.
Okay, from Blackshear.
Right.
And so did she move there by herself? Or,
Well, no, I mean, she was living with a relative.
Okay.
And so she was the only one in her family to go, and she was living with a relative. And living in Jacksonville, that's where she eventually met my dad, who was in the Navy from North Carolina. She ended up having 8 children. She had several miscarriages, but she had 8 children and 1 daughter, 7 boys, and I was next to the oldest. So I was 8 years old when the next one started coming, and so I felt like I helped raise the rest of the brothers. Changed plenty of diapers in my lifetime.
Got a lot. So with I guess 6 younger brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Ended up having a lot of experience. So what's the age difference between you and then the youngest brother? Do you know off the top of your head?
So probably would have been 20 years.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty good gap.
Pretty good gap. As a matter of fact, my youngest brother, Jerry, was born in November, and I married the following March.
Okay.
And so my oldest daughter, Patty, was born in 1971. So they were more like brothers and sisters than him being her uncle.
Right. Right. So, and this is kind of jumping ahead just a little bit, but what was it like having a child and so close to your own mother having a very young child as well? So they're basically a year apart, right?
Right. Yeah.
So you've got your oldest daughter a year apart from your mom, from your brother, who's basically a year older, so what have you. So what was that like?
Well, I mean, it was kind of fun, you know. However, after Patty was born, um, by then we were living in Baxley, Georgia.
Okay.
And then we moved away for several years
Right.
before we finally came back home to Waycross, Georgia. And so, but they were close. Like I said, they were more like brother and sister. So,
Right. Very good.
cool.
Um, so what was your mother like? What was Granny like? Can you describe her? And
Mom loved the outdoors. She loved to camp. Um, she was just an awesome mother. I could probably sit here all day, all evening, and talk about her and her qualities. She was nurturing, she was compassionate. Um, she could also cut a pretty good switch and switch our little legs when we needed it. Um, but she also taught us how to work. And I think that that's where I get my ability to work and stay with it was from my mom. Um, I remember vividly once time about when I was about 10 years old. And so John, my oldest brother, would have been 12. And mom was working in the yard. And so she had us out there to help her. Like children do, we just lollygagged around and did not really want to work. And so finally, mom said, okay, put your rakes down. We thought we were going to be, okay, we're through, we're going to go play, but not so. She said, you're going to watch me work.
oh wow.
And so for the rest of the day or for several hours, we had to watch her. And at that point, we wanted to help to get through.
Right.
But no, we had to watch her. And so she was determined that we were going to learn how to work.
That's an interesting philosophy. I'm sure I've probably heard that story before, but I have forgotten it. Yes, so rather than just making y'all work, she decided to make y'all watch her work.
Right.
Take some notes and say, look, this is how you this is how you get it done right here.
So the next time we had to work in the yards, we worked.
And I imagine it's probably even a little more painful to sit there and just have to watch.
It was.
Yeah, because you're wanting to hurry up and get done.
Exactly.
To go play or what have you.
Exactly. We wanted to pitch in and help,
right.
But no, we had our chance.
That's good. I like that.
So,
may have to think about utilizing that one. That's right.
I remember standing on a stool and learning how to cut up a chicken to fry at a very young age. So
how young? How young?
I can't remember. I just vividly remember me standing on the stool.
Right. Pretty young if you're having to sit on the stool.
Right.
I mean, stand on the stool. And,
right. But
stuff,
she was up there showing me how. Something that my daughters all refused to do is cut up a chicken. As a matter of fact, Mary Ann was going to, I think she had the missionaries coming over and she bought the fryers and she was going to cut up that chicken. But I received a phone call and please, Mom, come cut up these chickens.
So would you say that that's maybe one of those lost arts or one of those arts that's on its way out the door as far as the generations?
Right. Right. You can still buy fryers whole, but the majority of them, they're cut up for you. Right. And so, as we have a lot of family dinners especially on the first Sunday, and if I buy chicken to cook, I buy them whole and
Okay.
still cut them up.
Oh, wow. So why do you buy them whole?
They're cheaper.
Okay. Yeah, well,
When you're feeding a lot of people, you need
right.
cheaper.
So you're willing to kind of put in the work to save the dollar, right?
Right, right.
Okay. So, and we'll do this as we kind of go throughout this discussion. But so just talking about maybe lost arts and so forth, and people that aren't maybe less people that are less willing to cut the chickens, and that can be an example of many things in motherhood. Almost just taking a shortcut because it costs a little more, but it's a lot quicker. You
Right.
know, I don't know. Maybe do you have any thoughts on that? On things that mothers do, that mothers did back in the day, that maybe aren't done as much today. Do mothers miss out on opportunities like that?
Well, if I was to say yes to that on cutting up the chickens, I'd have a lot of moms mad at me.
That's right.
It's
Yeah.
it's not a fun
Yeah,
job.
that's right. Yeah, and it's easy for me to sit here and talk about it because I don't do the cooking
Right,
in our home
right.
stuff. So
But you know, I mean, back in the day, I mean, when mom was growing up, you know, I mean, they did basically grew everything, did
right,
everything. You know, you're hulling the peas and so forth. Whereas today we just go to the store and buy them
right.
in the freezer section. You know, whatever you want. But you know, there is a lot of lost art.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I think it obviously gives us more time, because I mean, obviously it takes time to cut up a whole chicken, right?
Right.
You know, you cutting the breast, you cutting the legs, cutting the thighs, cutting the wings, and all that. And so, you know, having it, you get back time, but then I think sometimes we waste that time that we're giving back and spend it in ways that maybe could be more productive.
Right.
Or not to do.
Well, one of the things that I think is a challenge for all mothers is time.
Right.
I've thought about that a lot when you asked me to do this, and the challenge, no matter if you're a stay-at-home mom, no matter if you work from home or you work outside the home, time to do everything, to be everything that you want to be as a mother, as a wife, or whatever. It's hard. You know, it's long gone from back when my grandparents were coming up, and you know they worked the fields, but come evening time they were sitting on the porch in the rocking chair.
Right.
And today you're running back into with games and practices and things like that. So yes, being able to go in the store and have it all cut up comes in handy.
Right, for sure. For sure. I don't think you would be able to make as many of the sports games and that you do all the grandkids. I mean, you'll go from one grandchild's game to another grandchild's game to another grandchild game, all in the same day.
And cut up that chicken.
And cut up that chicken. And work a full-time job.
Well, at least we're not having to do like even mom as a grown woman, and that was going out and having the boys catch the chicken and then wring their necks, and then having to put them in the boiling water, and after they're dead, of course, put them in the boiling water and pluck all the feathers. So a lot of times have changed. A lot of things in time have changed.
And I guess just finding that balance, there's a lot of change that's good and convenient,
Exactly.
and helps us out, and then think there's also change that's taken place that detracts and distracts us in life. But um, any other thoughts about your mother and the example that she set?
Um, One thing that Mom did is, as we all know now, she's an awesome artist.
Right.
And even though she had that ability and everything and really developed it as she went along, she had to lay that aside as she raised her family. And, she worked in the cigar factory in Waycross for quite a number of years. And so she was trying to manage work and manage home.
Right.
But of course, there were years that she didn't have to work. But I just remember, the sacrifices that she made for all of us children. And one thing I was thinking about the other day, and when I was the summer after I graduated, um, the JCs asked me to be in the Miss Waycross pageant. And that required an evening gown, bathing suit, 2 outfits, complete outfits with the dress, the shoes, the hat, the gloves, the purse. Everything had to coordinate and match, for the interviews and everything that we had. And then the costume for the talent. Thinking back, I know my mom and dad did not have that kind of money, but they sacrificed, and Mom took me to Jacksonville and, bought me everything I needed. And I know that was a sacrifice, something at the time you really don't think about.
Right. Yeah, that's cool. So getting into the sacrifice, you mentioned the artist or the art and her being an artist and being able to pick that up back in later in her years and everything. So if you look to your right there, we've got two of her paintings right there and everything, and we've got another one on the inside of the house and stuff. So
right, and something that she's gifted to her children and grandchildren.
Right. Yeah, a wonderful, wonderful keepsake that all of her posterity has the opportunity to have and everything and stuff. So, I think that's something else that I think you, along with the work ethic, is the sacrifice. Something else that you inherited and took up from Granny, because I can testify with my siblings that we've seen you do the exact same thing for all of us, and putting in the sacrifice and working the extra hours, from in the day and waitressing at night, just so that we could have those little extra things and feel like that we weren't going without. And I can tell you that we never felt that way. We never felt like we were going without and everything stuff. So.
Another thing that I would like to bring up is that my dad grew up as a Methodist and my mom grew up as a Hard Shell Baptist. And they had the missionaries come to teach them for 5 years. Mom never once really told my dad that she had a testimony. She waited for him to gain his testimony. She didn't want to have any influence over him. And she, the night that Dad told us that he had a testimony of the gospel of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, that she told him that she had felt that way for a while.
Wow.
So she wanted to do that, and she always had respect for my dad. And of course, we all knew that we better have respect for my mom too,
Right, right.
from my dad.
Um, yeah, so that's interesting. Why do you think that she didn't want to give that or have that influence on his personal conversion there?
She just wanted him to independently have his own testimony and not be swayed by her.
Right, right,
And then later in life, as you know, they served 3 missions
right,
together, one in Texas and 2 in Montana. So there again, they made a sacrifice
right.
to do that, not to be able to see their children, grandchildren, great grandchildren for the span of time that they were gone. So,
Yeah. Yep, and not and even in between those missions there, they were uh, rather than come back home uh, for a time, they would go and live amongst other family members, to try and be an influence
right,
for good with their children and grandchildren and everything. So they
right.
were constantly looking for ways to serve and to be of good influence
Yes,
on
both of
theirs.
them very family oriented.
Yeah. Um, did they? Did Papa come from a big family as well? How many?
Yes, it's ironic that mom, 5 of them, dad, 5,
Okay,
myself, 5. I call mine the Fab Five.
that's right.
But yes, he had 2 sisters, and then there were 3 sons.
Okay,
Hmm.
very good. Anything else that you want to discuss about Granny? Um, I do have one. If you don't have anything else on Granny, I do want you to maybe share one last story about her, and that was again getting back to maybe the kind of woman that she was and the example that she set with her just willingness to go through and dig deep and push forward, and that's the example of being confined to a walker and then her determination to get off of that walker.
And I'm glad you brought that up because that was one example that mom could endure anything in her determination to exercise and take care of herself. Um, and um, while she was having to use the walker, um, she would not let me do the grocery shopping. She would I know that it was painful for her, but she insisted on going and doing the shopping, and the trips that she would have to make back into to the car. Then once she got home, back into so many trips because I was at work,
Right.
and she would make so many trips. Um, so
And
she
yeah, and
had
yeah,
the
and you're saying when you're saying so many trips like back and forth to the vehicle,
back
right?
and forth
Because
to
she
the
can't
vehicle.
load 5 bags on each side.
Right, right.
Stuff.
She
So
had to, yes, one at a time. And I came up one time where, she would, seeing her, she would sit it on the deck and then go back to the car and sit it on the deck back into. And then, of course, I would come and help her. But that was
right.
what she would do. And then if I was not there, which was the majority of the time because she shopped in the morning while I was at work, then once she got it on the deck, then it was up up the stairs and then back into, so but she didn't let anything stop her. Um, and um, she also went to the gym during that time
With a walker.
with her walker and would exercise. She would do what she could. And she was an inspiration to everyone at that gym. But fill in a little bit about what you were referring to.
Yeah. So whenever she passed away, I think it was you or Jerome that found one of her notebooks, the spiral notebook that she would write and journal in and everything. And she wrote basically the story about her determination to get rid of that walker.
Right.
And she would, I think she talked about not supposed to leave or something like that, if I remember correctly. But she was going to do it anyway without her walker.
Mm-hmm.
And she sat down on the steps, and she went down from one step to the other to get down to the ground, and then would stand up, and then would walk to the vehicle.
Right.
And then whenever she would get home, she would kind of do the same thing.
Right.
Kind of scoot up the steps and
right.
basically repeated that until
Right.
she got strong enough.
And she did that while I was not home.
Right. Yeah.
Because she didn't want anybody to try to discourage her. No, don't try to do that.
Right.
After my dad had a stroke, then he slowly deteriorated because Mom and I, seeing him struggle to try to get up to do things, we thought we were helping him by bringing him things.
Right.
Instead of saying, no, you need to get up and get it, which is hard.
Right.
When you're seeing someone struggle like that. So I think part of that determination came from that she was not going to, don't do it for me. I'm going to do it myself. And when she was, she passed away at 95. She was at the gym that Friday. That Saturday, she was changing her oil. And I had your children over, my grandchildren. And she brought Lily in there and went to the art room and painted a painting with her. And it was that night that she called me to her room and said that she was not feeling well. And we called the ambulance, and she was in the hospital 1 week, in hospice a week, and passed away. So she remained active.
All the way.
All the way.
Yeah.
And even laying in the hospital bed, she was bound and determined to get up. And she was not able to stand without help. And I was sleeping up there at the hospital, and I would wake up to her scooting herself down the bed so that she could try to get up.
Wow. Yep. Granny Myers is, I think we're blessed to have great grandparents all around. I think from Granny Myers to Granny Howell to Papa Myers to Papa Howell, truly blessed. But Granny Myers is one of a kind for sure, and she was the the last one standing
Yeah.
of my four grandparents
Right.
and everything and stuff. So
Right. Speaking of Granny Howell, I mean, she was a wonderful mother-in-law, and one thing that we'll probably talk about later, and that is, the feeling of protectiveness from a mother
right,
and grandmother, whatever you are. And she had Mary Ann in Penny's one day, my youngest child, um, in Penny's, and they were. Mary Ann was standing right there with her, and they were shopping, or she was shopping. But she kept hearing a lady say, come on, little girl, come on." And she was like, she kept looking and she was like, who is she talking to? And she realized there was no one else around, that she was trying to entice Mary Ann to come with her.
wow,
She grabbed Mary Ann's hand and said, let's go. And
wow.
out she went with her. I mean, immediately, I mean, you're going to
Yeah.
be ready to fight.
Yeah. So let's talk about Mama Bear a little bit. What is it, and when is it, and what's the where does that come from, and just the willingness to stand in front of a truck, if needs be, for a mother and her children.
It just comes natural. I mean, uh, you're going to act and react without thinking.
Right.
Um,
I
it's like lighting a fire under you.
right. Yeah. Um, yeah, I can think of a just a short little quick story. Being at a pool on a family vacation down in Daytona, and Mary Ann falling in, and you fully dressed without even thinking. I mean, I think you were in the water before she was actually in the water. So, I mean, just in there. I mean, there's like you said, there's no thinking. It's
No.
just absolute reaction, split second, and
right.
you swooped in and got her up and out of there.
That's
And stuff.
right.
And I was in the pool, and I just remember just watching the whole time. Like, man, that was quick. Is Mary Ann even wet?
um, I think of what Christ said, about how he loves us, as a mother hen would gather her
Right.
chicks.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah. Speaking of little chicks, I've heard a story. I think I've seen a picture of a mother hen in a fire that protected all
of hers.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she died. The hen died, and all the chicks lived.
Yes, I've seen that picture.
Right.
Very touching, and but it's just born in you. You just instinctively.
What about the pain? Yeah. How quick do you forget about the birthing pain?
So let me start with I loved being pregnant. Well, let me say after the first 3 months, because I was not just nauseated, I was throwing up for the first 3 months 24/7. After that, I loved being pregnant.
Okay.
And wouldn't trade it for anything. That first little flutter you think you feel,
Right.
so exciting. And then as the baby begins to move and kick, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Jesus mentions that in some of his sermons too, or in some of his, that I think as soon as that baby is born and you're holding that baby in your arms, what pain.
Right.
I mean, you don't think about it. And in thinking about having another baby, you don't go to
Oh, yeah.
the pain of
Right.
birth. You don't. Um,
Go to the just the joy of having
of
another baby.
motherhood.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um. So, did you when you had your first one? Did you feel ready to be a mother? Maybe thinking of the up and coming mothers out there. Did you feel ready and prepared to be a mother? Did it seem overwhelming, or did you feel like you were ready?
I personally felt like I was ready. And the reason was because of all my younger brothers.
Right. Okay.
I felt like I was ready. I wasn't scared of it or anything like that. However, having little brothers and, helping change them or feed them or, whatever, um, did not prepare me for the feelings
Uh,
of motherhood.
right.
The absolute joy that you cannot describe. I mean, there's just nothing like it. So for that, I was not prepared.
Right.
As far as even going back to becoming pregnant, and like we were talking about, just feeling that baby growing inside of you.
Yeah. When it comes to being a mother, so maybe because you have there's all kind of fears, right?
Right,
Probably number one is the safety and protection of your
right,
child,
right,
the health of your child.
right.
So you've got that. Uh, Maybe day to day activities. Does the joy of being a mother outweigh the fears that a mother may have? Um,
I don't think so, because I think it's all kind of so intertwined that you want to um, be a good mother. Um, you can't compare yourself to all the moms on social media or
right.
anything. Um, you want to, so whenever you have your children, they don't come with a manual.
100. I agree with that. 100%.
Even from waking them up in the morning. You have
Right.
to be particular how you wake this one up or how you wake that one up. Or um, when Patty was when I brought her home, and she's laying in the bassinet right next to my bed, and uh, she sleeps till 10 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, I mean, you're like, I mean, you think, okay, it's great, they're sleeping, but then at that point, you're worried.
Right.
You're looking to see, okay, are they breathing? You're putting your hand on their back or tummy to see if they're
Making sure they're alive.
breathing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, right from the get go, I mean, you're worried about them, but then you also want to discipline right. You want to uh, teach them right from wrong, not to tell fibs, to tell the truth, the importance of telling the truth, teaching them manners, teaching them how to get along, and siblings getting in, quarrels, and with Patty and Teresa, they were 2 years apart, and they would get to times where all they could do was fuss at
Right.
each other, with each other. So I would put them on restriction from speaking to each other. They wanted to talk to each other so bad they couldn't hardly stand it.
Right.
Loved loved it when that restriction came off.
Right.
But and then I mean, there's all different time kinds of things that you go through, and I remember one time you were on your mission, and I tried to get Brian up for church for 2 or 3 Sundays in a row, and he wasn't getting up. And so that Sunday, I just jerked the pillow out from under him and started beating him with the pillow and took his truck keys.
All right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, so he was at church the next Sunday.
That's funny.
So, you know, you can have all kinds of spur of the moment
Right.
discipline. But
Got some experience with taking some keys.
that's right. I'm good at taking
That's
keys.
right. Good at taking
Yes,
keys.
yes. Patty at one point had done something, and she had already graduated and was actually working, and was buying her own car. And at that particular day, I was painting the house, and so she comes out and mad because she was in trouble, and and she wants to know where her keys are. And I patted my pants and said, "They're right here." I'm on top of the ladder.
Right.
I said, "They're right here." And then what we had was the
Cordless phone. Yeah.
Yes, and she went back inside huffing and puffing and wanted to find the phone, and she comes back out and said, "Where's the phone?" I said, "Right
Not
here."
in the pocket.
But I mean, there's, discipline is hard, and you always wonder if you're doing the right thing or what. But
did you find yourself more of a natural disciplinarian?
I took after my mom, where I could break a switch,
Right.
use a switch pretty good. Of course,
Switches are
you and
effective.
Brian have a story on that.
Yes, we do. So we're horseplaying in the back of the car, and of course you're trying to concentrate and drive, and I know it's funny, you do these things as a kid, and then when you become an adult and becoming a parent, it's like, okay, I see what the issue was. I'm trying to concentrate and drive, and I got kids back there in the back. And back in the day, we weren't buckled up.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't a law to be buckled up,
Right.
and so it was very common for us to not be wearing a seatbelt. I don't ever really remember wearing a seatbelt when I was young, but anyway, we're horsing around and everything, and you're telling us to calm down, settle down, and stop whatever it is we're doing, and we don't. And so you say, okay, that's it. You're both getting a switch when we get home. And so me and Brian devised this plan that as soon as we get home, we are running inside as quick as we can, and we're going to stuff our shorts and pants and stuff with some socks, some extra underwear or something, and I'm first. I'm the older one, so I guess I get to go first. And anyway, you're switching me, and I'm flailing and stuff and acting like it's hurting, And then you get done, and I go out, and Brian comes back and goes in, and the door had 2 or 3 inches that you could see up under. And so I went to the bathroom, and I could see up under, and I'm watching Brian get his tail beat with a switch. And then all of a sudden, a sock drops out of his shorts. And he, just as quick as he can, he steps on it to hide it. And I don't know to this day how you didn't see that sock drop from his shorts.
Y'all pulled a good one.
We did. That was a good one.
Yes.
And the kind of the fun part about being a kid, and then as you grow older and go into adulthood and stuff, you get to kind of share those stories. With your parents about, well, I actually ended up doing this.
Right.
You didn't know about it then, but
I know. So many stories to surprise your mom and dad with.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So is there a difference between raising boys and girls? Advice on raising boys and girls? Is one harder than the other, or are they just difficult in their own way and maybe not as difficult in their own way?
To me, it's a hard question. Number one, a lot of people um, say, dread the teenage years, and how bad they are. I was very fortunate with all of my children in becoming teenagers. They never had that experience to where they undergo this terrible change,
Right.
So thank y'all for
Right.
that. um, I mean, there is a difference in raising boys and girls. I can't say this for sure, but I would think that on the father's side that there would be probably more protective over their daughters, you know, um, and then with the boys because they think the boys can take care of themselves,
Right.
if they get into any kind of trouble. But to me, there's not a whole lot of difference because you're doing the same thing. You've got to make sure they're doing their homework. You've got to make sure
Right.
they're being honest and
Yeah, you're teaching the same. I mean, you're teaching the same principles to your children. The basic right from wrong, the basic work ethic,
right.
manners, things like that. Maybe, maybe, maybe emotion. Like maybe is there a difference emotionally? Do you, maybe from the son or the daughter in the experience?
Well, a daughter may break down and cry,
Right.
whereas the sons are going to
Just
be, you're not
less
going to
likely.
make me
Yeah.
cry.
Right.
um, so, the daughters require a lot more um, than the boys do, and clothes and all the other little things that they need.
Right.
You just can't go out and buy a dress without
Right.
buying all the other stuff to go with it, or the makeup,
Right.
the hair, the where boys
Throw a hat on. Just
yeah, just
throw a hat on. We're good to go.
I know it. I mean, so there's a lot of difference there. So when I was working, um, let me say this: there were times that I had to work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my goal was not to work, to be able to stay at home with my children. I was working at the University Hospital in Augusta, Georgia, when the one of the top men, I don't know if he was CEO or what, but he had called me into his office and asked me what my goal was as far as working there, and
Right.
what my ambition was. And I think I disappointed him a lot in when I said I want to stay at home with my children.
Right.
That was my goal. And not too long after that, we moved to Columbus, Georgia, and I got pregnant with you. So, I was working part time at Blue Cross Blue Shield later on, and then when Patty became a senior, and just all the things that she needed and so forth, I went to work temporarily at Western Sizzlin
Right.
as a waitress in the evening to try to, provide some of those extra things, and ended up working there for about 3 years. However, um, all of y'all were involved in sports and everything. And so the manager there worked with me when y'all had games and so forth. I didn't have to work.
Right.
And we got a manager in there, and he said, no, not doing any special favors. And I said, well, goodbye.
Wow. Yeah.
So
I didn't realize that, or I may have at some point, but didn't realize you had the opportunity maybe to keep working, keep making some extra money, but weren't willing to go that far and start missing the extracurricular activities.
right.
So, yeah. So maybe talk about that a little bit in today's world. We do have, there has been a shift in the career mother, from less stay at home moms where that's what they do full time. And I know anytime people ask if Amanda, my wife, works, I say absolutely she does work. She works in the home.
That's
and
right.
It's, but she works.
That's right.
100%.
That is work.
Yeah.
Make no mistake about it.
Yeah.
That is work. Yes.
And then when you work, when you have the work at home and the career, I honestly don't see how mothers maintain that, because even though you have dad that normally is the one doing, I would say, maybe most of the working, he comes home, and then you have the mom that is also working full time. It seems like the mom still has more of the child responsibilities and everything.
Right.
It's just where it falls. So it's where it lands most of the time. So I don't see how mothers keep up that way.
It's hard. I mean, I know from experience, there were times when I was working full time, and um, as a matter of fact, when I went to work for this place, there again, I before I agreed to work for them, I said, okay, on ball game days, I will need to get off at such and such a time, and they agreed before they ever hired me.
Right.
But yes, it's hard. To work and try to keep up with the being a mother,
Right. And
being
I know
a
that's
wife, being a and it is hard, but women do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, hats off to them. I know a lot of mothers out there work because they choose to. They choose to provide that extra income that does allow the family to do more. And so hats off to them. Hats off to you. For doing something that you made, as you said earlier, it wasn't what you necessarily wanted to do, but it was something that you needed to do, and because of that sacrifice that you talked about earlier, you were willing to do it for the family and everything. So
It's funny how um, I hear other mothers say the same thing, but when with y'all, um, if you're say a Sunday afternoon and your dad is in the living room watching TV and the mother has laid down for a nap, if you need something, you don't go ask the dad who's awake.
Yeah.
Children come, and I don't think I'm alone. Children come and ask the mother who's asleep. You feel that little tap, tap, tap.
That's funny. That's hilarious. I mean, and to go along with that, you got mom and dad sitting in a chair next to each other. Child comes up, and they need to have a question or something. Both of them are awake. Both of them are sitting there, but the first go to is mom.
Right.
Right, mom. Mom's the go to.
That's right.
Just the
Which, as a mom, I mean, you just do
it's
it and you
fulfilling,
love
right?
it
Yeah,
and you love
that's right.
part of being a mom.
Um, um, so you've been blessed to have all five of your children now living, within just basically 15 minutes of you. So maybe touch on that a little bit.
Yes, that's something that I've had in the last several years. However, there was a time when Teresa, when she got married, Chris, her husband, was in the Marines, and he was in the Marines for 20 years. 3 of those years he was in Okinawa, or they were in Okinawa. And so that made it hard, because you're not watching, being with your grandchildren as they grow up is not as easy to attend their events, whether it's sporting events or like Dylan was in plays, and Tristan and Haley were in volleyball. And so it was just not being able to be around them because most of their years they were in California.
Right.
So it wasn't like they were just a few hours away where, you've got to either spend several days traveling or board a plane
Right. Right.
and go see them. So I really miss that. And I know that Teresa herself has expressed, the wishing that they had lived closer. But, that's the way life is. I mean, her husband was in the Marines, and
Yeah.
that's where it took them.
Yeah. I think it's pretty cool. I don't think they ever lived in a place where you didn't go at least a few times.
Right,
I know even Okinawa, a 17-hour trip,
right.
you went twice.
Twice.
Right. The
Yes,
first time you went with Patty and Marianne.
right.
Second time you went with me, Brian, and Marianne.
No,
Or did
Marianne didn't
Mary?
go on that. It was
Okay, it was
just you
just
and
me and
Brian
Brian.
and
That's right.
myself.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, and I made several trips out to California
Yeah.
to, to be able to see them, and as well as them making some trips home too. But
Right.
still, at that time, we didn't have the FaceTime
Right.
and everything like you do right
Right.
now. I mean, it was even no, not texting or anything like that. It was just talking on the telephone.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I know I, I know that she's felt like her kids missed out on the opportunity to grow up closer on cousins,
right,
and really form that strong relationship, and they've got good strong relationships with their cousins and everything. But I think that there is some gap there, and missing out on many of those years
right.
from
Maybe,
holidays, and just
right,
spend the nights during the week, during the
right,
summers, or whatever
right.
it is. I actually asked my children probably just a couple of weeks ago. I said, if you've got, because I told them about my original plans to go into the sporting industry, and which would, especially in the beginning, most likely would have required me uh, to live in a larger city, Atlanta or Texas or wherever it was.
Right.
I said, but you would have had access to maybe more of the maybe cooler experiences, so to speak, behind the scenes in the locker rooms and whatever it is going on. Would you rather have had that, or would you rather have grown up in a small town around your cousins? And every single one of them, without a doubt, around cousins and
Right.
stuff, and building those relationships and everything.
Well,
So
that's awesome.
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah,
Yes, and like you said, they are all close with their cousins that were their age and everything, but they did get to miss out on they were possibly being able to play sports with each
yeah,
other
right, right.
and things like that with each other,
Yeah.
but life isn't always easy.
That's right. Yep. Life. Tell my kids, life is not fair.
No, no.
Well, what about? Do you have something else?
Go
Okay.
ahead.
What about what's the experience like in being a mother versus a mother-in-law?
Well, I mean, I love being a mother in law too. I feel like I've been very fortunate um, to have great daughter in laws and son in laws. I, I couldn't have been more blessed. And I hope they feel the same. But the way I feel about my daughters and my son in laws is I feel like they're my sons and my daughters.
Right.
And I think that I have been so blessed that I have, with my children and with their spouses, I've never had to worry about my grandchildren.
Right.
I know that they are taken care of. Um, it's sad to say not everyone can say that,
Right.
but I've been very fortunate in that respect. And um,
I think some, and I listen to Dave Ramsey's podcast a lot. There's all the time examples of people calling in, and where the mom and the dad uh, of the child, of the adult child, they're constantly maybe butting in, and I don't know if that's the right word, but they're inserting themselves into their children's adult lives,
right,
right? Versus allowing the adult children to live their life,
right,
and so you see a lot of that where Mama Hen doesn't want to let her little chicks go, right?
right,
And so I just from my perspective, looking at you, I think you've done an awesome job, and I know it may be hard, and I'm going to experience that eventually, where our adult children are out living their own lives. I'm going to want to reach in there, right? So is there a restraint there in saying, okay, these are my children, but these are adults living their own lives, and I have to let them make their own choices, their own decisions, their own mistakes, so to
right.
speak.
Um, well, let me say this: losing control is an adjustment.
Right.
Where you don't have that control or so forth. But I think at from time to time,
You do have to.
I do make
Right.
a suggestion.
Right.
Um, let's say the other day with Lily, she had a sore,
Right.
And I just cautioned, just watch
Right.
out for staff. Got to
Right.
be careful,
Right.
things like that.
Yeah.
And I I
Right.
do
So,
that, and I can't help myself.
right.
I just
Yeah. So the example that I would give on that is that some would maybe show up at the house with some medicine
right,
and say, "Hey, you need to put this
right,
on her lip or whatever."
right,
Right. So
right,
that's kind of the difference
right,
that I'm kind of referring to there,
right.
and stuff. So, but anyway, it's just interesting. I know you always hear of uh, mother-in-law war stories and things like
Right,
that, and
right,
um, it's a blessing to have for me to have a mother-in-law um, that doesn't do that,
right,
but is also at the same time 100% there. And then the same thing on my wife's side, has a mother-in-law that is
right,
100% there, but also isn't overbearing and
but
things like that
right,
and stuff. Just
right,
walks that balance and so
right,
forth. So, um, and I think it's harder for, like you're talking about, giving up that power and that influence, and not necessarily power
right,
but the influence maybe.
right,
Um, I think there's a lot of moms and mothers-in-law that could learn 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 to step back
right.
and so forth.
Yes,
So
you do. You definitely have to learn to
yeah.
step back.
What about maybe examples of mothers in the scriptures and so forth?
Okay.
Do you have some of those?
I have a few of those. The first would be Eve,
Okay.
the mother of all living. And I think what a wonderful and special spirit she must have been in the pre-existence to be chosen to be the first mother.
Right.
And then I think about, Cain and Abel, two of her children, where, Cain kills Abel. So I know that had to have been really hard, heartbreaking for her. Something I just cannot even fathom. Um, the other
Well,
person,
so on that, it's again, it's what I appreciate about different perspectives, right? Because I've never thought about that. I've always thought about the perspective of, and he's killing his own brother, out
right?
of jealousy. I've never thought about,
How
how Eve must have felt and how heartbreaking that would have been for her.
for her, yeah. And then Mary, the mother of Jesus, um, another beautiful spirit that she had to have been honored to be chosen as the mother of Jesus. And through all the joy that she had with raising him and everything, then she had to go through the heartbreak of seeing her child. I mean, he was Jesus, but he
Right.
was still her child
Right.
that was crucified, that was treated so horrible, and then nailed to the cross. And how heartbreaking that had to have been as she witnessed that. And then knowing that Jesus looked at John and told John, "Behold thy mother,"
Right.
and to his mother, "Behold thy son." So even as dying on the cross, he was concerned about his mother, which showed how much love he had for her.
Right.
Um,
Do you think when they found him at the temple, and they were already a couple days journey back uh, to Bethlehem, I guess it was, Is that where they were coming from when they went to Jerusalem to pay their taxes?
Right.
Were they coming from Bethlehem?
Right.
Anyway,
I think it was
yeah.
Bethlehem.
And so they realized he was missing.
Yes.
Right. And so maybe talk about that, and then I wonder if he got a switching all the way back.
She I know that she was upset.
Right.
You know, and it's hard to believe, to think, okay, how did she not miss him
Right.
for all
You're
that
right.
time?
That's what I'm wondering.
But I guess she just thought that he was with all the
group.
people that they
Yeah.
were with, and then she starts looking for him and everything. And speaking of your little switching, so that particular day, you're around 3 years old,
Right.
and I'm ironing, and right near the door where I keep stepping out, you're outside playing and stepping out and making sure you're right there because we did not have a fenced in yard.
Right.
And so it's amazing how fast children can be. But I'm ironing, and I get the feeling that I needed to check on you. And I thought I was almost through ironing that shirt, and so I continued to iron a couple of more times and the feeling again. And when I go outside, you're nowhere to be found. And of course, you're looking, and so I immediately go to the last place I'd ever want you to be, and that was near that pond.
Right.
And there you are down the road going toward that pond, which you'd never, ever done before.
Not by myself.
Not by yourself.
Right.
That's right. And so I did break a little switch.
Right.
Switch those little legs so that you didn't want to do that again. Scared me to death.
Oh.
But I thought about that whenever we were going to have this discussion, and the fact that listen to the still small voice. And mothers have to do that a lot, and dads too. But you've got to listen to that still small voice and react. Had I not done that, no telling.
No telling.
What would have been the outcome.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Elder Bednar's teaching on that. When you receive a prompting like that, many times we think, well, is this just me thinking something, right?
Right.
Imagining something up, or is this from the Holy Spirit?
Right.
And he said, if it's a good thought, go and do it.
Right.
And I think the Lord, the more quick we are to react to those promptings, the more sensitive we become to the promptings.
Right.
And that's obviously for our benefit and our good.
Right. Back to the mothers in the scriptures.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm pronouncing this right. Jochebed, who was the mother of Moses.
Okay.
Pharaoh had sent out a decree for all the Hebrew babies to be killed. And she was able to hide Moses for 3 months. And then when she didn't feel like she could hide him any longer, she made a waterproof basket and took him to and laid him in that basket and took him to nearby where Pharaoh's daughter was bathing. And um, they find Pharaoh's daughter finds him and immediately, you know, feels has motherly feelings toward him.
Right.
She needs an nursemaid to, you know, nurse him, which she was able to be the one that nursed him for as long as that was needed. But I think of the faith, and she had to have listened to that still small voice
Right.
to go and do that, because Heavenly Father knew that he would be found, and we know what a powerful prophet Moses was.
Right.
And so that was a woman of faith for sure to be able to do that.
Yeah, and I can again getting back to maybe putting yourself in the mother's shoes, how probably excruciating that was to let him go like
To
that
let him
and
go.
have to exercise that faith
Right.
to do that.
I mean, I can't fathom that. I mean, I
Right.
cannot imagine being able to put you or one of my other children in a basket and send
yeah.
him down the river. That,
That, so that's interesting. I've never put these two together, but with you bringing that up, because I think one thing that any righteous mother, what they're not going to do is they're not going to abandon their child. Um, and so you taking that to Abraham and Isaac, and Abraham having to offer up his son, being asked to offer up his son. And so I think those are two things that gets, you know, at the father, and then with the mother of Moses there, the abandonment side, and not wanting to have to do that.
right.
So yeah, interesting.
Mothers, the mothers of the 2000 stripling warriors in the Book of Mormon, and um, these 2,000 young men with no experience whatsoever had to go into battle against experienced warriors, and they went in with the faith from their mothers, and they said, you know, that they knew that their mothers knew it, that they would be okay.
Yeah,
And
so so in preparation for this, I had pulled that scripture up as well. Or there's a couple different scriptures. The one that I don't have the one that you're referencing, where he said that they knew their mothers knew it.
right,
There's another scripture here in Alma, chapter 56, verse 47, says, "Now they never had fought, yea, they did not fear death, and they did think more upon the liberty of their fathers than they did upon their lives. Yea, they had been taught by their mothers." And again, Scripture's talking about their willingness to sacrifice.
right,
And we talked about sacrifice earlier and the amount of sacrifice that a mother does. And they learn that sacrifice from their mothers,
their mothers.
as well as their faith and
Right,
testimony in Christ.
right. um, yes, I've always
Mm-hmm.
loved that story about them, and I think that they were all wounded to some extent, but none of them died.
Absolutely right. Yep.
Right.
Yep. And I know that that I can sit here and apply that scripture to my life. You know, for the faith and sacrifice and your example, I can insert my name in that scripture. For sure, with your influence and the faith and everything that you've
Thank you.
prayed for, not only me but for all of your children, for sure. So,
My last example is one of how a mother should not be,
okay,
and that is with Herod. Herod had married his half brother's wife, and John the Baptist had chastised him and told him his feelings about that and how wrong that was. And Herod was actually a little afraid of John the Baptist because he knew how the people revered him as a prophet.
Right.
But Herodias, the woman he married, hated John the Baptist for what he was saying, and she sought revenge. She was manipulative.
Yep.
She was willing to sacrifice her own daughter's innocence for her to dance seductively before Herod. And Herod had told her after the dance that he would give her anything up to one half of his kingdom. And so she whispered to him what her mother had told her to, and that was she wanted the head of John the Baptist delivered on a platter. Herod really did not want to do that, but he did because of they were at his birthday party, and with all the people around, and the oath that he had, said that she could have anything. So Herodias just discarded anything as a mother should feel about her daughter, and put her in that position with. It's just not a good example. And sadly, there are mothers out there like that today. And I just thought I would bring that, that not only are there mothers out there like that today, there were mothers way back,
Right.
Even things that we think are horrible today, happened in the scriptures
Right.
as well. Yeah. But she was an example of what you don't want to be like.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, the scriptures are a wonderful thing. They give us many examples of what to do, but also examples of what not to do.
Right.
We should study them and read them as much as we can.
Right.
I know that you have in the past liked to go out on Sunday afternoons out and really spend some time out there.
Right. One thing I would always see is my mother in the bed at night with the light on, reading, and she read the Bible from page to page, the whole Bible, which I don't know.
Right.
I've never done that. That was and the Book of Mormon, but she read all of them from page to page, every bit. Awesome. I thought that was a great accomplishment.
Yeah.
And
I think it's important for children to see their mothers, and fathers, but we're talking about mothers. To see them do those things and live out what they believe.
Right.
For sure.
And having children will keep you on your knees a lot.
Right.
Praying for their safety and praying, spent many a night looking out the window waiting for headlights to turn in.
Right.
Before I could go to sleep. So in thinking about Eve and Mary, the mother of Jesus, and the mother of Moses, I think about my own mother and the grief that she went through with the loss of 3 of her children. First, it was my baby brother Roger, and I must have been 2 or 3 years old, probably 3, because what I remember is standing on a stool and looking at him in his small casket.
Mm.
And that's all I remember. But uh, he was born premature. His lungs were not totally developed. And so he lived for 24 hours.
Mm.
And then she had several miscarriages, which is heartbreaking as well, before my brother Elliot came along when I was 8. Several years later, at this point, I'm married and have my 5 children. And no, I had 4 at the time. Marianne was not born. And my dad was the first to get word that my brother Victor had fallen at the place where he worked 70 feet and had not survived. And he came to my house after hearing that to pick me up to go with him to tell Mom.
Mm.
And that was hard. That was hard. And Victor was 23 years old, married, and had a small child, little girl.
Right.
And so, you just think a parent should never lose a child.
Right.
You don't, and I don't know how one gets through that. It was several years later when my brother John, who was the oldest, and he served in the Vietnam War. He was a Navy SEAL, and he suffered from PTSD severely, and he ended up killing himself. And there again, that is so hard to deal with, and I'm sure as a parent, a different kind of heartbreak to know that a child takes their own life. The only way that we can get through trials like that is through faith in the Lord Jesus Christ and our Heavenly Father. And I know that that's what got my mom through, and my dad, but we're talking about mom. So through those trials, and you have to think you have to go on. You've got other children that you've got to basically live for and take care of.
Right.
So
Yeah. We talked a little bit about mothers feeling like a protector, and when things happen to where they lose their life, that ability to protect, it's not, that you don't ever have everything kind of fully in your hands, or the power in your hands, and seeing that take place. And I know I've heard you say that you hope that you go before any of your children go.
I do. That's got to be the worst heartbreak. I remember my mom saying that her mom and dad, when they lost their only son, so there was 4 daughters and 1 son, and they lost him in a motorcycle accident. And he told my mom, he said, the hardest thing to ever go through was losing a
Child.
child.
Yep. And we know that, Heavenly Father experienced the same thing, watching his only beloved
That's right.
son, only begotten son, suffer the way he did, and watching him go through that, and having to, again, really kind of release that power, that ability to save his life, which he could have done. And then even at the same time have to fully withdraw.
I was just thinking about that whenever you were talking about that, because, you think of our Heavenly Father as, He is Almighty,
Right, yep.
But He loves us like we think we love each other and love our children. But Heavenly Father loves us more than we can even imagine. And for Him to, at that point in time, have to withdraw
Right.
His spirit and comfort
Yep.
from the Savior, that was hard.
Yeah. So do you think that a mother's love is maybe the closest thing that you can get to Heavenly Father's love on this earth?
So.
Yeah.
I would think so. I know I've said before in our discussions that it's the greatest thing in the world, and I cannot imagine going through this life and not being able to be a mother. And there are those that cannot be a mother, but they can be a mother to other children.
Right.
So, which is special too.
Yeah.
And that will be made up to them in the hereafter. We know that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's a wonderful thing to think about, that the blessings that people miss out on in this life, their faithfulness will result in all blessings that are promised to mankind in the eternities and everything and stuff. So, as we start winding this down, I got a couple of personal reflection questions for you. Okay.
Okay.
What were you really good at as a mother?
As a mother?
Yeah. What's one of your strengths, you think?
I know my mother had the patience of Job. I don't know that I had the patience of Job, but I feel like I was patient.
Yeah.
So I would think that would be a strength.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree with that. It's a good one. All right. Where do you think you struggled as a mother?
Where did I struggle?
Yeah.
So I read to y'all. I remember laying in the bed particularly with you and Brian, one on each side. I don't know if y'all remember that, but I read to my children, but I wish I'd have read more.
Okay.
I wish I had read more.
Very
for
good.
Sure.
Yeah. What was it that kept you going on the hard days?
My children, without a doubt.
Right.
My children.
Another question. This is this kind of question is, again, thinking about the listeners, the other mothers out there. Did you ever feel like you weren't enough as a mother, and what would you do to get rid of those thoughts?
All the time. All the time. I like I said, yeah, children don't come with manuals,
Right.
and a lot of times it's a guessing game. Um, but you do what you instinctively, I guess, feel like is the best thing to do at the time. Um, I think, you know, basically let the punishment fit the crime,
Right.
more or less. You know, um, don't don't let, if a child has done one thing earlier in the day and you kind of overlooked it, and maybe another thing and you overlook it, and then something else, and don't pull them all together.
Right.
You've overlooked those, let that be, and discipline what has happened that you need to discipline at the time.
That's good.
Um,
That's good. Yeah, because that can easily happen. You're trying to be patient,
right,
right? You're trying to not get overly upset with different things, and you let it go and you let it go, and then finally the last one breaks the camel's back, I guess, or whatever it is, and then you take all that you let go, and now you're just piling it all together.
right,
So that's
right,
great advice right there.
right.
Yeah, I love that. If you've let it go already, then you got
Then
to let it
you
go.
let it go, right.
That's good. That's really good. Let's see, I got a couple of other here. So what for a mother who may be feeling overwhelmed, what's your what's your advice? What's your advice to a mother who feels like they're kind of being overrun or overwhelmed and maybe just can't handle it?
Find a secluded place if you can, and fall on your knees
Okay.
and talk to Heavenly Father. And I've done that so many times throughout my life. You know, I mean, He's the only one that knows everything that you're going through,
Right.
and turn to Him for guidance and comfort and patience, and to be able to endure. And because, you know, I mean, you can ask a half a dozen people is going to give you different advice. And there's nothing wrong with going and talking to your mother or mother-in-law or a friend, you know, if you need to. But if you know, if things are where you are feeling just helpless and I can't go on, or whatever, you know, go to your
Right.
Heavenly Father.
Yep. Turn to the Lord.
That's
Do that
right.
more often than not, for sure.
One thing I have is I'm very thankful for my testimony, that I know that my Heavenly Father lives and that He hears me and knows me, and as well as my Savior does too.
Yeah, it's good. Is it How different do you think it is raising children from Granny's generation, your generation, to my generation? How how with the external differences and surroundings and everything, is it more difficult to raise children nowadays? Is it less difficult? Is it more convenient? Is it less convenient? Um,
I think it's
Or is it just
a
different?
lot harder
A lot harder these
now.
days? Yeah.
Now, um, even though I've said I would like to go back, if I went back, I would want to go back in my time
Right.
and
Yeah.
not go back in this day and time, because parents now have a real challenge, and that is with a lot with the social media,
Mm-hmm.
and getting friends, getting phones way younger than what you are going to allow your child
Right.
to have a phone, and then the dangers of social media and what that can hold.
Right.
Um, I think back when my mom was being brought up, and even when I was being raised, we went outside and played, and would play till dark. We whether it was hide and go seek or jump roping or riding our bicycle or playing chase or whatever. We were outside doing things. Hated to have to come in
Right.
and the time to get a bath and eat supper and everything. And y'all lived in
Mm-hmm.
that time. I
Yep.
mean, when you were coming up, when
Yeah.
you didn't have all the social media and everything. And um, kind of while we're on that subject, I feel like your child needs to be involved in something. If it's piano, if it's, sports or dance or whatever. Um, your dad and I both love sports. We love the dogs,
Right.
and very competitive, and very, very fortunate that all of our children love sports. And, you know, you're going to school, you're going to practice, you're getting your homework done. You're waking up, you're going to school, you're going to practice, and it teaches you a lot.
Yeah.
Self discipline. It teaches you, to get along with others. It teaches you to deal with losses and wins. And I mean, you could go on and on about the advantages of sports. So I think that's the hardest thing this day and time is social media.
Yeah.
And it can distract from listening to that still small voice. When you've got so much noise from the outside world, you're not listening to that still small voice that can guide you. And that's what we need for our children
Yeah.
as well as ourselves. But they need to be able to understand that and hear it. And
Yeah. I think one of the things that I've heard you say more than once when I was growing up, anytime I brought somebody else's what so and so was letting them do, your response is, I don't care what they're letting them do or not do, what they're not doing.
right,
They're not my child. So
right,
and I've used me and Amanda have both used that one many times as well.
right,
And so or the whole keeping up with the Joneses and everything, and it just and unfortunately that's what social media has magnified is what it appears that everyone else may be doing or the perfect life that they have. Uh, and then of course with all the other negative things that comes with it, it amplifies a lot of false things that are going on. It masks a lot of things of real life
right,
and stuff. So
right. Yes, I remember one time when Marianne, I had to ground her and she did not get to go to homecoming that fell within the week of,
mm,
and friends and even parents.
Tried to get you to.
Yes, and I told Marianne, I said, I don't give in to peer pressure. And she didn't go. So
Wow.
whether I was wrong or right, she
Yeah.
did not go, but right. You you do what you think is best
Yeah.
and know who your friends are friends with.
Hmm.
Know who
Your
your
children
children are
are friends
friends
with.
with.
Yeah,
That's
it's a big one.
very important.
Yeah, we've been blessed to have a lot of cousins around, um, and they've had our children have had good friends, and I had good friends, growing up, and
Right,
I thankfully gravitated towards those that were of good influence,
right,
and picking up on those that weren't as of good
right.
influence, and so forth. Um, well, anything else that you have as any thoughts on being a mother? Um, I got a couple of just random rapid fire questions at the end for you that
Oh,
really doesn't
wow.
have doesn't really have anything to do with the mother, but it's kind of maybe more about you and so forth.
Okay.
So
Um, just know that time flies. When you have a baby and you think, the 18 years before they graduate, it's
you
not going to seem like 18 years. I mean,
right,
time's going to fly, and um, don't let life get so busy that you don't have the time, because one day you're going to wish you had it back. And unfortunately, we don't get do-overs like that. So you just do the best, make the best decisions, and that for your children. And
I got a T-shirt that says "Time does not wait on anyone." That second keeps ticking on by,
ticking on by.
and yeah, those them 18 years we've gets by quick, too quick. I remember growing up, you said that the older you get, the faster time goes, and that is so true.
That is. That's
Um,
what my dad always told me.
yeah, it's a true
You
statement.
don't think that whenever you're young, because
Right.
whenever you're 12, and I mean, you can't wait till you're 16 so you can drive,
Yeah.
and you can't wait till you graduate. And,
Right.
I mean, and then when you do, you look back and say, wow,
Where
you
did it all
know.
go?
I know Dylan, one of my grandsons, said after getting out on his own for a little while, he said, I'm tired of adulting. I want to
Right.
go back.
That's funny. Uh, well, so yeah, I've got. Thank you so much for coming in, sitting down. Um, Imagine we could sit here for a few hours and just talk about different things. But I got a few rapid fire questions for you.
Well,
Um, Maybe a little bit more about you. So, movie choice, is it comedy, action, drama, suspense? If you're going to sit down and watch a movie, what kind are you going to watch?
I love all the above. I hate horror movies.
Okay,
Uh, Suspense, is good, but I love a good comedy too.
comedy.
Love a good comedy.
Okay,
You know,
like to laugh.
yes.
All right. If you're going to favorite meal that you would cook yourself, and then maybe a favorite meal in a restaurant.
Favorite meal that I would cook myself. Um, I think. Let me say this: I love breakfast, So I think if I'm going to fix myself something, I'm going to fix some grits and eggs and toast and homemade jelly and
Okay.
bacon.
Okay. Pretty good. It's hard to beat a good old egg, bacon, and cheese sandwich.
Yes.
um, favorite, something that's favorite thing to do. If you're not running to a sports game for a grandchild, if you're not working, if you're not cleaning house, working in them yards, raking them devil of oak leaves.
See, my mom was preparing me
Yeah.
about working in the yard
Yes,
of what I was going to have to do in the future.
for sure. What do you like to do? What's something you like to do?
I love to read.
Okay.
I love to read. If I I would think laying by a pool and reading, or laying on the beach and watching the waves roll in. Both sound very good to me. Relaxing. I haven't done either one.
Because you don't let yourself.
I read,
Right.
but it's not laying by a pool
Or a beach.
or a beach. But I also love sports like playing tennis or something
Right.
like that.
Okay.
Yes.
So that leads you to the next question. What's the favorite sport?
That is a tough question. Now, the favorite sport to watch um, would be football and basketball. My favorite sport that I played was basketball, and but I love tennis too. So
Yeah.
I don't know. But right now, I have a lot of favorites going on because I've got grandkids and volleyball, and one just finished soccer, Chase. So
Yeah, you've seen it all from the softball to the baseball to the football to the gymnastics to the golf to the soccer, basketball, track, just about every sport out there.
I know.
They've wrestling.
I know.
You think about
Wrestling,
wrestling?
yes. I have flown to California for volleyball.
Right.
I've gone to New Orleans, Orlando for volleyball. Uh, Flown out for a play to California for a grandson that he was in.
Flown to Colorado for ultra marathons.
Yes, yes. So I will say my grandchildren, let me say this, with all of my children playing sports and running back and two with all the practices and the games, and which I loved. When my last one, Marianne, graduated, when she played her last, it would have been basketball. I remember thinking, "Oh my word, what am I going to do? There's no more games." With each one of you, it was a sadness that I would never see y'all really
Right.
play
Right.
like that particular sport again. But when Marianne finished, and then it was like, oh my gosh. But now I have more games going on.
And you know what to do with.
Yeah. Sometimes I have to do a spreadsheet.
Right.
I've gone from Blackshare to Nahana to Blackshare in one night.
Wow.
So
And
it
sometimes
keeps
you
me
get the
busy.
spreadsheet mixed up on times and stuff.
Yes, I can do that too.
If you could travel without any restrictions to one part of the world, where would you go?
You should have asked me that beforehand so I could think about it. um,
So maybe that's not something that you've really thought about. Obviously, maybe too much.
um, I mean, I've always thought maybe Ireland
Okay.
would be kind of intriguing to go to. Um, for sure. We've got Irish on my mother's side, and Germany. That would be
Yeah.
interesting too, because my grandfather on my dad's side came over here from
Right.
Germany when he was about 19, I think, something like that. So both of
Yeah.
those would be very interesting to go and visit.
Very good. All right. Last one. Who's your favorite child?
I have 5.
Okay.
5 favorites.
There you go. There you
Yes.
go.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I had to throw that one out there.
Yes. My Fab 5.
That's right. Your favorite fabulous 5.
That's right.
Very good. Well, that's all I've got. You got anything else? Anything else you want to share? Any closing remarks?
I feel very blessed with my children and my grandchildren and my great grandchildren. Just, I could not be more blessed. I would not trade all the riches in the world for them.
Is it true that if you knew how joyful the grandchildren would be, you'd have had them first?
Say that again.
If you knew how joyful the
Oh,
grandchildren would be, would you have had them first? Have you ever seen those T-shirts or anything like that?
I have. And let me say this. You know, as a parent, you discipline. You know, if they need a switching, if they need, to time out, whatever, or the parents are just getting on to them. It's different being a grandparent because all you want to do is go over there and hug that baby,
Right.
hug that child. You want to and it's hard. It's hard sometimes to just stand back and not go over there and
Right.
interfere and give that child a hug, and that's hard.
Yeah. I can imagine. Although I have seen some grandparents in the day do their fair share of not y'all, not our. So like again, you and Dad and Jerry and Rachel. I've never seen you do this, but I have seen some grandparents get right in there and do just as much switching and spanking. Yeah, so it's
that would be hard.
Yeah.
I'll tell a funny story right at the end. Various times I'll have several grandchildren over at one time to spend the night. And one particular time, there must have been about 8 or 9 spending the night. And this is when Brody and Dalton and Nathan all were fairly young. And we're going to have the slip and slide the next day. So all the parents have packed their little bags and put their toothpaste in it and their sunscreen and everything. So I've got kids lined up, okay, I'm getting their toothpaste out of their bag and their toothbrushes. And with Dalton and Nathan, I put because it's in a tube, I'm not even thinking to look to see what it is. So I put it on their toothbrushes and they're brushing their teeth and they're saying, "This tastes awful." And I grab the tube right quick and I see that it's sunscreen.
Wow.
Oh my word. I jerked them up, washing their mouth out as good as I could, just like, oh my goodness. I got their mouth washed out and then I called the Poison Control Center right quick.
Wow.
And then I called Brian and Amy, who were in a movie, and said, just so you know, I've brushed their teeth with sunscreen.
That's funny.
So, just one of those funny stories.
That's right. Yep. Yep. That's good. Yeah, I know. We have a lot of video recording, a lot more pictures and everything. I know one of the things that you said that you hated the most when our house burned were the pictures, losing all of the pictures and everything. I wonder how much of those joyful times of our mortal life will we be able to kind of go back and replay a little bit.
It's a good thought.
Yeah.
Good thought.
Because I have every day I have, as a lot of people do, you've got these memories that pop up, from whether it's Apple or Microsoft or whatever, photos and things like that.
Right, that is on mine too.
Right.
Yes.
And it's easy, if you click on it, it's easy not to get lost in just watching.
Oh, I know.
Watching those things and getting all sad again about how they used to be so little. And
I know. It's
innocent to little punks. And
real quick.
Go ahead. Yep.
Talking about when our house burned.
Mm-hmm.
It was an overcast day, and we had been out at the tennis courts playing tennis, and came home. Patty's 14, I believe. Marianne, the youngest, is 1. So
I'm 7.
You're 7. Brian would have been about
4 or so.
4, about 4. And Teresa then would have been about 12. So Patty, I left her with all of you to take Teresa to the beauty shop downtown to get her hair cut. And all of a sudden, just the loudest clap of thunder that felt like it shook all of Waycross. And that was the only thunder. And in a few minutes, I get a call from a neighbor. The people at the beauty shop tells me I've got a call, and when I get on the phone, it's my neighbor, not one that would just call me, especially at the beauty shop.
Right.
So immediately, something's not right. And she said that your house is on fire. And everybody's out. Everybody's safe. So I, hang up, and a friend of mine was there, and I just told them, my house is on fire, I've got to go, and that person volunteered to bring Teresa. And I'm coming, we're living out near where y'all live now, out in the edge of Brantley County, and as I'm coming down the road, and I'm seeing the black boiling smoke, I cannot describe the panic, the fear of, and the realization that if all of you had not made it out, they would have never told me that on the phone. And until I got there and could lay my eyes and hands on each one of y'all, it was horrible.
Right.
It was horrible. Forget losing the house. And one of the miracles of that day was that Patty, being a 14-year-old girl, even though she was babysitting with y'all, more than likely would have been on the phone talking to her friends. But she wasn't. She had y'all out on the porch playing charades.
Right.
And she looks in the house and sees Mary Ann's blanket in the living room on fire. And the lightning evidently came in down the antenna and struck there and caused the fire. And it was an old home, so it went up fast.
Right.
She tells all of y'all to go out to the road, and she runs back in, which could have been very dangerous, and calls her friend and tells her our house is on fire. And before she gets out, the windows are already busting out,
Yeah.
and she runs out and gets all of y'all down to the neighbors. And
she calls her friend because we didn't have 911 back
right,
then to
yes,
call the fire department.
right, and the friend called the fire department.
Right.
But there was no saving it, and we lost everything, but the most precious and valuable, my children were safe.
Right.
And that's all that mattered.
Yep.
It was a huge blessing because y'all could have been scattered all through the house.
Right.
Mary Ann Patty could have been sitting in her room on the phone. And Mary Ann's room was right there near where the fire started. So it could have been bad, but it was a blessing. So always been so thankful for that.
Yeah, for sure. We I just got a fire claim today, and people's house burned, and anyway, someone passed away in the fire and stuff. So it's you never know.
No,
Never know for certain stuff. So
I'm just so thankful for the mother I had, and to know of her compassion, her love for everyone. And I'll tell you a fun fact about my mom.
All right.
She claimed she never had a headache. Which is hard for me to believe.
Wow.
But she says she's never had a headache.
I think it's just because she didn't want Papa giving her some cayenne pepper to snort.
She said, I'm good.
That's right. I ain't got no headaches.
No headaches. That's good.
Yeah, that's a little inside joke there.
Yeah.
Papa Myers, he had a little remedy for headaches.
Yes.
Quick story. My brother had a headache one day, and he says, "I know how to get rid of that for you." And he took a little. What Brian says is about a teaspoonful on a toothpick. There, he snorted. He said he definitely didn't have the headache anymore, but
he totally forgot about that headache.
He forgot about that headache. That's right.
He loved those home remedies, that's for sure.
For sure. Well, again, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for asking me, and I love you, and I'm thankful I am a mom. That's a blessing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's the greatest calling of all. I did actually have a couple quotes here. We'll end on this right here. A couple of quotes from Abraham Lincoln. All that I am or hope to be, I owe to my angel mother. Gordon B. Hinckley. The noblest calling in the world is motherhood. Russell M. Nelson. No other work transcends that of righteous, intentional parenting. Boyd K. Packer. There is no greater role in this world than that of a mother. Billy Graham. Only God himself fully appreciates the influence of a Christian mother. And then Mother Teresa. If you want to change the world, go home and love your family.
That's awesome.
Yep. So.
And I think there's one more, and I wrote it down, and I can't remember. I think it may have been David O. McKay that said the greatest work you'll ever do is within the walls of your own home.
Right. Yep. Exactly right. Yep. And I think mother's at the center, at the core of holding down a good home and everything, and obviously outside of our Savior Jesus Christ, focus and everything and stuff. So, well, happy Mother's Day to everybody. Hope you enjoyed this episode. It was a fun one to do with Mom. And until next time, y'all keep on striving.